This is a big time for movies. The award season is in full swing as it's nearing its conclusion. So we've got a lot of those types of movies to talk about tonight. And of course, you know, I'll keep my independent friends happy by telling you a few indies coming along the way. We have an awful lot to discuss tonight. Cinematic class is about to begin, and your professor is in. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your cinematic professor and a purveyor of truth in movies. And the truth tonight is that satire is often very funny, but you have to be very careful with it, especially on the topic that you're dealing with. So how do you deal with Hitler and the Holocaust? That's a tricky one. And the border between offending somebody and making somebody laugh is very, very thin on that. You remember Mel Brooks? He did a pretty good job in his story, The Producers, where they kind of made fun of Hitler and turned him a bit fruity, if you will, and it was springtime for Hitler, and that whole thing was very, very funny. Whether you watch the Matthew Broderick version or the Zero Mostel version, that was just a very funny. Well, Mel Brooks is kind of a funny guy. This time around, we have Jojo Rabbit, and instead of kind of changing the gender, if you will, of Hitler, they've turned him into a 10-year-old boy. Actually, when the story takes place, Hitler has already offed himself, and he is the imaginary friend of a 10-year-old boy who wants to grow up to be a true Nazi soldier. And so naturally, his imaginary friend of Adolf Hitler thinks and acts pretty much the same way a 10-year-old boy does. What's the bottom line on Jojo Rabbit? It's funny. I mean, it does have some very funny takes to it. However, it's not. It's a chuckle satire. Okay, last show I told you about Reality Queen. That was a funny satire. I mean, laugh out loud, guffaw, slap your knee type funny. Jojo Rabbit is more like a cute chuckle type satire. It's effective and it works, but it's that chuckling type of satire. Being considered for a lot of awards. Don't know if it's that strong. Here's a look at Jojo Rabbit.
Today you boys will be involved in such activities as war games, ambush techniques, and blowing stuff up.
I don't think I can do this.
Was? Of course you can.
Aber dann kamst du.
When I was your age, I had an imaginary friend. Got me in so much trouble.
Kids, it's time to burn some books.
You're growing up too fast. 10-year-olds shouldn't be celebrating war and talking politics.
Heil Hitler.
I wish more of our young boys had your blind fanaticism.
Did you know Jews can read each other's minds?
But how would you know if you saw one? They could look just like us.
Hi. You know what I am? Say it. A Jew. Gesundheit.
Sheesh, that was intense.
What am I going to do?
No idea.
Got it! I will
Burn down
negotiate.
the house and blame Winston Churchill. Or negotiate.
If I tell on you, you'll be in big trouble.
They'll never win. Love is the strongest thing in the world.
Your mother took me in. She's kind. She treats me like a person.
You two seem to be getting on well.
She doesn't seem like a bad person. I'm the enemy. You're not a Nazi, Jojo. You're a 10-year-old kid who likes dressing up in a funny uniform and wants to be part of a club. You okay? Oh, God.
Nothing makes sense anymore. Yeah, I know. It's definitely not a good time to be a Nazi.
Say, on the last show, I told you we were going to be experimenting with something new, a live studio taping that we'll broadcast over Facebook. That is still in the works. We're not going to do it for the awards show because there's a whole lot of post-production and stuff that has to go into the award show. But as soon as we're done with that, you want to keep an eyeball for that. Those of you that follow the show on the Facebook page, I'll certainly keep you abreast on that and how it's happening. I think this is going to be an awful lot of fun. We'll see how it works. Do you know what a single shot is? You know, some people think that single shots are a relatively new phenomenon. They are not. Since the golden age of Hollywood, producers have used single shots in varying lengths. Now, sometimes they get a little bit silly. For example, Tony Jaa did one in The Protector. It was roughly 8.5 minutes of a single shot fight. Pretty impressive. Everybody noticed it. It was worthwhile. But, you know, for those of you that know fighting, you could tell that a little bit later on in the fight, the moves started to repeat. They were kind of sort of the same. Daredevil Episode 2, Season 1 got a whole lot of hoopla because of the single shot in the hallway. So these things are nice little gimmicky things, and when you can pull them off, they look well. How about doing an entire movie in a single shot? Well, that's what Sam Mendes did with 1917. This is a story about World War I. It's a good story. Typical World War I template story, but it moves well. Now, what about this single shot? Well, folks, at one time, single shots had to be single shots. Sometimes they would do between 20 and 50 takes just to get the single shot. That's no longer the case, because now the software for editing has become so sophisticated that you can actually take breaks and make something look like it's a single shot when in actuality it is not. So basically what I'm saying is you can cheat at this thing. Does Sam Mendes cheat? Yeah, he does. Don't go into this movie looking for the cheat spots. That's not what it's all about. He pulled Roger Deakins behind the camera for this. Roger Deakins is probably one of the true cinema masters in Hollywood right now. So the two of them are able to pull this off. You will sit through this movie and actually think that it's one shot. Don't get caught up in the technicality things of it. The problem is that one shots are like Yellow Submarine. Okay? Yellow Submarine is a gimmicky song that the Beatles put out. If you say, give me the epitome of the Lennon-McCartney writing, you don't pull out Yellow Submarine. It was a gimmick song. And the one shot, or the single shot, is a gimmick shot. Does it last through the whole movie in 1917? Yeah. Does it make that kind of fun and unique? Yeah, kind of like Cloverfield made the found footage thing look good. But, is it something that you want to see all movies on? Nah, I don't think so. And after about an hour and 15, 20 minutes or so, you're saying, okay, I'm kind of sort of done with this. Let's move on. Let's get on to something else. The movie being considered. Oh, and by the way, Roger Deakins has already won the Cinematographer of the Year award for this. So you know these two have put it together in a really cool fashion. The movie is 1917. Here is a look.
In your own time, gentlemen.
Must be something big if the General's here.
You have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir.
They're walking into a trap. Your orders are to deliver a message calling off tomorrow morning's attack. If you fail, it will be a massacre.
We've got orders to cross here.
That is the German front line.
Hold back!
If we're not clever about this, no one will get to your brother. I will.
There's only one way this ends. Last man standing.
I'm going back to see my father.
We need to keep moving! Come on!
I'm going back.
We can't possibly make it that way, man! You bloody insane!
Why in God's name did you have to choose me?
Stay, please.
No!
If you don't get there in time, we will lose 1,600 men. Your brother among them. Good luck.
So we talked about a couple of big blockbusters from the Hollywood studios. Let's talk about an independent now. This movie is called Stalked, and I believe as you're watching this, it is now available to you on VOD and your favorite streaming device. Stalked is another one of these movies that is trying to promote the female warrior agenda. This one actually does it pretty well, I got to tell you. The lead in this is ex-Marine, so she's, has military training and what have you. And this guy just happens to pick her. He is a serial killer, and she's next on the list. But what makes this even more interesting is the guy who is the serial killer actually has gotten his hands on some experimental military equipment which in essence is stealth and turns him invisible. It makes for an interesting story, but I got to tell you one little caveat here about this thing. I think it goes a little bit off the rails because when this whole adventure begins, the mom, who is a single mom, we got to follow that agenda, has a baby at home, a 5-month-old baby, who was running a temperature of 105. Folks, that's dangerous level there in babies, okay? But she decides to leave this baby home alone in a, baby seat while she runs out to the store to get some meds for the baby. That's naturally when she's kidnapped and everything starts going to hell in a handbasket, right? So the baby ends up being like a half a day by itself and it would have been dead and everything. So in other words, you can be a strong, independent and woman and fight this guy in military gear, but the cost of it is very poor parenting. I don't think it's the message they wanted to get out, but it's the message that comes through. The name of the movie is Stalked. Here's a look.
1, 2.
She's got a temperature of 105. I'm gonna get your medicine. Where am I? It's a factory. Do you remember anything?
I know who you are in here. I will kill you. Quickly. There is no way out.
All right, for those of you that have been watching this show for the decades that it has been on, you know that I am really not a fan of Adam Sandler. Boy, this guy is just Neanderthal to me. But you got to worry when those butts come out. I can honestly say he is in a movie that I actually enjoyed watching. This is Uncut Gems, and he's being considered for awards. And so are the folks who made the movie. But therein lie the rub, my friends. Josh and Benny Safdie are the people who wrote, edited, produced, directed, and put this whole thing together. And they're the ones that kind of shoot it in the foot. There are huge continuity gaps in the storyline in this movie that had me sitting back and scratching my head saying, how in the hell did that happen? And then the final climactic reels center around a seventh game in an NBA playoff between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. I am not a basketball fan, so I don't know anything about what the hell's going on in this playoff game. But I do know this, that whole scene is too long. Oh my God, it goes on forever, and you're thinking like, will you please get to the point? They stretch it out so, and everything repeats, and it's just like, oh my God. They destroy the ending of the movie. So technically speaking, now this movie had a lot of improvement. Adam Sandler, however, plays really good in this role and in this character, and I think possibly because he had nothing else to do in the movie. He didn't have to produce it or write it or get involved in anything else. He just concentrated on his acting, and he actually gets to show off his stuff pretty good. So if you're an Adam Sandler fan, I think you'll like this one. Otherwise, you're going to have to deal with a little bit of a sketchy script and an end scene that just drags on way too long. The movie is Uncut Gems.
Gary.
What is that?
I started it.
Are you serious? You're taking my money all over town, placing bets.
I'm having very serious second thoughts.
Are you serious right now?
Howard, where's the money right now?
Howard, got my money?
Howard!
Is it too late? I'm done. It means nothing. It meant nothing. Please. Give me another shot.
I told you about how things were gonna go. You like the way things are going now?
That's my family! Get the kids out of the house!
You having a good time?
Yes.
This is me. This is how I win.
Now, once again, for those of you that are fans of the show and have been following me for a good number of years, well, since 1988 when we started this thing, you know that every year I give out movies the coveted Fist of Fury Award, and this exemplifies excellence in film entertainment. Not film as propaganda, not film as, artsy craftsy. No, film as entertainment, something that when you place your money down, you come out and you say, damn, that was a good time. That type of movie. And normally, the Fist of Fury Award winners come late spring, sometimes into the summer, before they really start hitting. We have one already. It's the third week of January when we're taping this episode, and we already have one. I believe this is the earliest that I've ever awarded a Fist of Fury Award. The movie is called The Gentleman. It has an amazing cast, and it's a movie that's done by Guy Ritchie. Now, I got to say a little bit of bias up front. I like Guy Ritchie films. It was very, very, and still is very, very popular to pick on this guy, and it has been ever since he started a little romance with Madonna years and years and years ago. But this guy has really put out some decent flicks, especially the action comedy type flicks, and this one is absolutely great. You remember a while back, Clint Eastwood did a movie called For a Few Dollars More, and he was basically this loner guy who saw two warring factions and figured, I could play these two against each other and I can make a whole lot of money. That movie was redone with Bruce Willis in Last Man Standing. Same character, just a different setting. The Gentleman is set up the same way. The only thing, the guy that's trying to play the two hoodlums against each other is Hugh Grant. And unfortunately, in this case, Hugh Grant is not Clint Eastwood, and he's certainly not Bruce Willis. This movie has everything going for it. I'm telling you, the last 3 reels of this movie move so intensely that you're like sitting on the edge of your chair. It's really good. It is the coveted Fist of Fury Award winner, the first for 2020. Don't miss this one, folks. You're going to like it. It's called The Gentleman.
I want you to play a game with me, Ray.
I don't want to play a game.
Oh, please.
No.
I said play a game with me, Raymond.
Right.
Lovely. I want you to imagine a character. Your boss, Mickey Pearson.
You're too smart to be blackmailing us, Fletcher.
Sweet Mary Jane is my vice. Your poison, on the other hand, is and always has been the destroyer of worlds.
You're out of touch, and I would like you to consider an offer.
I am not for sale.
The plot begins to thicken. Now, I can't be specific about the heroes and zeros, but our protagonist is a hungry animal. There is a lot of money hanging in the balance. Our antagonist explodes on the scene like a millennial firework and has indirectly started a war.
I think you need to see this, boss.
That's one of my phones. How do they find it?
I'm making inquiries.
His name is Fahak. We're spelled with a PH, so it sounds like Fahak.
Please!
All right, Fahak, Kanda Fahak.
Please!
If you smell smoke, it's because there's a fire. So you're gonna have to stamp that out quickly.
These people are going to clean house, and you are part of that house.
In the jungle, the only way a lion survives, not by acting like a king, by being the king.
Oh. Brilliant!
I've been waiting so long to be where I'm going.
Oh, it's really warming up now, isn't it?
The sunshine on your...
There's only one rule in this jungle. When the lion's hungry, he eats.
One of our associates had an accident.
So you killed someone?
No, it was the gravity that killed him. Gonna need those phones.
As with all Fist of Fury Award winners, you're going to want this one in your personal home video collection. It is worth repeat viewings. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I really did. Let's get back to our independence. And hey, in time for Valentine's Day, you're thinking roses, you're thinking candy, think demons. Why not, right? The name of the movie is Cupid, and they've done a little twist on the story of Cupid. Instead of Cupid, shooting an arrow into your heart and making you feel love, this Cupid has gone to the other side. He has actually turned into a demon, and he shoots his arrow through your eye and kills all love. And it's a really kind of an interesting concept, but there are a couple of things that go askew in this. Now, Cupid has all of February 14th, 24 hours, to basically kill 12 people. All right? Good math majors will tell you that's roughly one person every 2 hours. And this demon can't get the job done. What makes it even worse is that he doesn't have to, although he can fly, he doesn't have to travel far for all 12 of these people. They're all in a school. Yeah, what the hell goes wrong there? I'm not exactly sure. Hey, there's some fun scenes in this, though, and Cupid shooting out people's eyeballs is certainly a little bit different than plucking the strings of your heart, can you say? The name of the movie is Cupid. It comes out, surprisingly, February 14th. Here's a look.
Nice little setup you've got here for tomorrow night. I've been hearing that you and your little friends have been continuously bullying Faye. But leave her alone, okay?
Didn't think you could get any lower.
Bye!
For the powers that be, take love from others as it has been taken from me.
Something's not right.
Miss?
Cupid.
Thou dare summon me.
Finally, tonight, I'd like to talk to you about a real serious and heavy drama called The Lighthouse. It stars Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. They are both being considered for best acting accolades, and certainly they deserve it because the acting in this is really fantastic. What goes wrong is the script. Roger and Max Eggers work on this, and it's not as good as their first movie, The Witch, which I reviewed for you a couple of years back. It's about two men falling into madness. And if you do movies like this, they're very effective if you can follow the man or the character into his madness. Unfortunately, The Lighthouse does not permit you to do that, and that is its biggest flaw.
Tell me, what's a timberman want with being a wickie?
Just looking to earn a living, just like any man. Starting new.
On the run. Keeping secrets, are you?
No, sir.
Why don't you spill your beans? Why don't you spill your beans? Why don't you spill your beans? How long have we been on this rock? 5 weeks? 2 days? Help me to recollect.
As much as I'd like to go on, that is all the time we have for in this episode. I'll be bringing you a whole lot more in the next episode. Until then, stay in touch with me on the Facebook page. Stay in touch with little video capsule critiques on the YouTube channel. Here's the URL. And of course, if you're into reading and increasing your vocabulary, I might say, you might want to check out the Outtakes with Fiore blog as well. Got to wrap this up. Now that you have learned what you have learned, class is dismissed.